Steve Moore is a former Trump economic advisor. He's now the co-founder of Unleash Prosperity. Steve, thank you for joining us on your Saturday, taking some time for us. Let's talk about the jobs report first, and we'll put it up on your screen in just a second. But it's 177,000 new jobs. 4.2% is the unemployment rate that we're hovering over right now. Seems to be that this trade war, all the tariff talk and the doom and gloom really had no impact on jobs. So, Steve, tell me, is that a good sign for what's to come in the next couple of months? Because some economists say we're going to start to feel the pain, at least in the summer.
Well, it's an interesting story. Look, I think most people are really breathing a breath of relief that this report came out. It was a good, strong report. By the way, we have a record number of Americans working today. Never before in history have we had more Americans working. That's a great thing. We had more people enter the workforce. That's been a problem. We actually saw a shrinkage of government employment, which is a good thing because we're running a $2 trillion deficit. So we have to, reduce the size of the federal government. So that was a really good, positive report. And then the other thing, of course, that's happened over the last 2 weeks has been the absolute surge in the stock market. Remember, 2 weeks ago, every newspaper headline was the worst April in history for the Dow Jones, and this is the worst stock market since the Great Depression. In the last 2 weeks, we've seen a total rebound. And I think the reason that's happening is investors and businessmen and women are becoming more confident that Trump is going to pull this off and we're going to get those trade deals. Now, listen, if those trade deals don't happen and people become pessimistic, we might see another, fall in the stock market. But for now, people are much more optimistic than they were a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, let's talk about the pocketbook because the big number, I think, jobs report set aside is inflation. And we've been watching that very closely. Obviously, not great during the Biden administration. And now everyone is watching how the Trump administration handles it. Inflation actually lower, right, than expected in March, even though consumers we're seeing are still spending out there. Egg and oil prices down as well, which the White House is pointing to as well. What do you think? Are consumers feeling the pinch of the tariffs yet? Will they? Will we continue to see inflation go down?
Listen, you're right that inflation has been pretty tame for the first 3 months that Trump has been president. And remember what a horrible situation we had in the first couple of years with Biden, with prices going up to as high as 9.2%. And, over the 4-year period, people were paying 25 to 30% more for everything from gasoline to groceries. So this is a good news story, no question about it. Now, will tariffs at the margin raise prices? Yes, it's a tax on when you buy things. So if you're going to buy shoes or T-shirts from China, you're going to pay a little bit more of those. But I always like to remind people that all of the other things that Trump is doing are positive in terms of holding prices down. So we're producing more oil and gas than ever before. That's gas prices have been falling at the pump. We're seeing the deregulation efforts that are going to make it cut costs for businesses that they can pass on to consumers. And then, of course, let's not forget the tax cut. We get that tax cut done, and you're going to see a really strong stock market, and you're also going to see prices fall.
A lot has changed since the Trump administration took over in January, not the least of which are the tariffs, trade deals, and the impact that has on the economy. And I think we've all been waiting to see data. And I found this data interesting. I hope you did too. It's good to see that the job numbers are up. It's good to see that inflation is down just a little bit. And that to me is probably the most fascinating part. There's a lot of talk with all of us in the country. These tariffs are going to increase the price we pay for product, but that doesn't seem to pan out in the data. And I know some of you are going to be absolutely furious with me for saying that. That's fine. I think what's happening is those increases where they are being offset by decrease in energy prices, namely fuel. Over 80% of what we consume is petroleum based. So his drill baby drill plan seems to have a favorable effect on pricing, perhaps a little bit more favorable than the negative impact of the tariffs. We'll see. This is just one data set, literally, the April job numbers and March inflation. We're going to need a lot more data sets until we can, and I mean any of us, can definitively say and accurately say, based upon real data, if President Trump's policies are helping or hurting the economy. Only time will tell. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And like I said, time will tell. So subscribe so you can get the updates. I'm certainly going to be doing updates. And if you know somebody else interested in the data, would like to talk about it, love to see the comments down in the comment section. By all means, share it with them. And as always, until next time, God bless. Love you all.